Mr. Medine here, you guys, and today we're going to be doing hand. So we'll do a PA, we'll do an oblique, and I'll show you two different types of obliques, maybe even three. And we'll do a lateral. We'll do fan lateral, we'll do extension lateral, we'll do flexion lateral. And then we'll do a bilateral hand. We'll do a Norgard method, and that's just for us to study on. And that'll be it for today, okay? Also, if you can, don't forget to subscribe. Post a comment and share and all that good stuff you're supposed to do, okay? All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We got here the patient. We're going to go ahead and put a shield on top of our patient here just like this. All right, we're going to set it to 43 inches SID, and you might wonder why 43, but that's because, here we go, that's because the distance is set from the tube to the bucky tray. So 43, it's actually 40 if you were to measure it. There's a measuring tape here somewhere. All right, so now it's going to be 40 inches, okay? All right, so for a hand technique, I would use about 2 mass at about 60 kV. Some places use about 1.6 and 64 kV, but I found that if you have a lower kV and a higher mass, just slightly, you get a higher contrast, so you get more black and white image, and I think that's a little bit more optimal. But it just depends on your facility and what you're looking for, and again, the generation of your system, okay? So what we're going to do is, we're going to bring this closer to him here. We're going to put your hand out over here just like this. All right, just like that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put the central ray right on that third MCP. All right, so these are your metacarpal joints here. So we're going to go ahead and put that on the third MCP. With that marker here, I got about 1 inch collimation on the thumb side and here. It's going to look a little bit wider here, but that's okay. You know, you can put a lead strip here, or you can make it smaller if you want, if you go ahead and get that thumb in. But if you can't, you might have to go ahead and just bring it out just a little bit more, okay? Here's the first digit here, here's the fifth, and here's the middle here. Put that marker right over here. Again, your central ray is on the third MCP. You're going to include your wrist joint here, which are your styloids right here. Okay, so your mid-carpal range will be about right this area right here, okay? So now we're going to transition into a fan oblique, and all you do is kind of turn the hand a little bit, just like that here. We're just going to kind of push it over right there. There we go. And we'll just put that right here. And again, this is a fan technique for the oblique. I worked in orthopedics, and they wanted a fan oblique because they wanted to see as many digits as they could. They didn't want them to be superimposed. But the central ray is going directed into the third. It's kind of in between the second and the third, but it's going directed through the third. But this is a fan technique for the oblique. There's another oblique that some other facilities do, is where the hand is just angled 45 degrees, just like this here. Okay, right over there. And the central ray is just directed through that third MCP here. Can you keep your fingers together like that? Can you do that? All right, there we go. So this is going to be the extension technique. We just did the fan. Now this is the extension. And then there's another method where some places use a sponge here. I've never been a big fan of the sponge, but I'm going to show you the sponge here. All right, right there. They use it as a step wedge. It's a sponge. We'll slide your hand up here, right over there. There we go. Put your right marker here. And there you have it. So this is the step wedge technique, using it for the oblique of the hand. All right, so now we'll show you how to do a lateral. All right, let's go ahead and take your hand here. You're going to put your hand sideways, just like that. So this here is an extension lateral. All right, bring that thumb down right there at the second MCP it's going to enter at. This is an extension lateral. Extension laterals are primarily done for, I'm going to try to make the collimation a little bit smaller. They're primarily done for metacarpal fractures and foreign bodies. All right, that's often a test question also that we ask during the program. So extension laterals are primarily done for metacarpal fractures to see if there's posterior anterior displacement, and then we do it for foreign bodies. We also do a fan technique lateral, where you kind of touch your thumb and your index finger like this, and you just kind of fan out the rest of the fingers here. All right, and then we're just going to separate right there. So this is a fan technique lateral. This is what we primarily did when I worked in orthopedics. The orthopedic surgeons like to see all the digits in a lateral view. All right, and then we have another lateral that you can do, and it's not as common, but it's called a flexion lateral. Sometimes they call it a beer can or a Pepsi can type of projection, because they're like holding a can, but this is called the flexion lateral. All right, sometimes if they have like some type of flexion issues with the tendon and they can't stretch their hands out, they'll go ahead and do this, or they'll just do it for that reason, but this is called the flexion lateral. The next projection we're going to do, we're going to actually turn the patient this way now. And I'm going to show you guys a bilateral hand oblique. So we're going to turn this way here. So for this one, this is more for rheumatoid arthritis. It's to check the joint spaces here of those metacarpal joints. And again, this is primarily for rheumatoid arthritis. But you're going to put the hands here just like this, right there. There we go. 45 degrees at an angle right there, just like that. You're going to center at the level of the fifth metacarpal here. So this is the right hand now over here, right? So this is a bilateral AP projection. It's called the Norgard method. And sometimes they call it the ball catchers like this here. But this is a bilateral AP oblique. It's done at 45 degrees. You're going to center at the level of the fifth metacarpal. And again, a lot of times this is done for rheumatoid arthritis because you get a good view of those metacarpal joints, okay? Again, this is primarily for testing purposes, or unless, hey, you're working at a rheumatology facility or an orthopedic joint specialist. So again, this is going to be the Norgard method or AP bilateral oblique. So these are the basic projections for the hand with an addition of a specialized view. Again, this is the Norgard method. And again, it's not going to be very common, but you still have to know it for the test, okay? I hope these help you out and look forward to seeing you again. Hello everyone, you guys. Thank you very much for watching the videos. I'm hoping that they're helping you out. Please make sure that you subscribe and that you hit the notification bell to be notified about new videos. Again, remember to be good to yourself and be good to others. Thank you.